So, anyway, that's more or less why. Uh, that's why I like rally racing so much. Anyway, back on schedule here. No music this time. I normally put on music in the background. I don't really feel like it's necessary. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. Um, who knows? Who cares? Art. I have continued to think upon my work here a little more. Not the execution. I almost never seem to think about the execution until I start getting into it. But I have quite recently. Let me retrace a chain of events here, right? So first and foremost, what the fuck is this layer? All right, I see what this layer is. This is like a very basic light and shadow layer. What is? Where is that coming from? There's a layer here that I want to find real quick. Give me 1 second. There it is. There it is. Okay, it's directly in the blocking. I see. I see now. Okay, it all makes sense. I don't need that layer. Put this all the way down here. Put that down there. What the fuck is this? Okay. Okay, I know what that is. I think. Let me zoom out and take a look. Yeah, that's all armor. Okay, so that's this layer. Armor constraints. I'll get this chat opened up for myself. Not that I'm going to have anyone to talk to, never do. But, you know, we're here. I'm here. Hello. I can see you people. All none of you. Yeah. Uh, maybe there's 3 or 4. Who knows? Bunch of lurkers. Anyway, I can hide that. Bring this back up. Bring that back up. Bring that back up. Bring that back up. Bring that back up. Hide all of this again. I want to know what this is. Alright, that's also a sketch layer. We'll call it a third sketch. There we go. I want to make sure I have all of my blocking plus 1. These two can get together. Okay. We're going to call this one blocking plus 2. Anyway, I think about my work conceptually a lot. You know, there are things that I am concerned about, not just as an artist, but as someone who is existing within the world, trying to participate in society. You know, I feel like it's a little pretentious to claim that I am fighting the culture war, so to speak, which I definitely am to a degree here. But I feel like that generally needs some sort of clarification. What are my brush parameters? None. Good, because I'm just doing some basics here. Alright. This is going to be very difficult to see if all of this stuff is going to look like that. Are those transparent lines? They are not. Let's go ahead and just, there we go. That'll make it easier for me to see everything as I should. I need to fucking turn that heater off, but again, I'm afraid of turning that thing off. I might never be able to turn it back on, and then I'll be fucked during the winter time. I'm gonna turn it off anyway. Give me 1 second. Hot. It is hot in Topeka. Classic. Let's get some cold Polish beer to cool me off here. Put it on the forehead. Directly on the forehead. Put it on the forehead, put it on my core, put it on all the areas except for my feet where heat escape. Heat escapes from 3 different places: your head, your hands, and your feet. My feet are covered, but my head and hands are not. So, if I cool down the areas where they escape, maybe I'll feel a little more pleasant. Cool down the core here, both the external and the internal core. Put some nice cold. Put some nice cold on here. Let's get some chill going. Let's get some chill. Anyway, like I was trying to say here, I think of my work very conceptually often. I think one of the things that kind of one of the dead ends here for my work, for myself as an artist, one of the things that causes me to procrastinate the most tends to be the fact that I think about my work on a philosophical or psychological level. I think about it more than I actually do anything with it, which is a problem. But I think it is. The reason I've not stopped doing that is because I've always convinced myself that it is a necessary part of the process. Will it take longer for me to do things? Yes. I know that for sure. But is it necessary? Also, yes. Because I'm not trying to, just crank out some cool looking pictures here. I'm actually trying to, I'm trying to tell you something. You know what I mean? I feel like I have something that I'm trying to say through my work, and the more I work on it, the more I reflect on my circumstances, etc., the more I feel like I get a better sense of what it is, and maybe I get closer to either having a clear concept for a series or. Oh shit, I'm on the wrong ass fucking layer here. Oh no. Thank goodness. Let's make sure I get back on here, get back on track. I can address that in a moment here. There is implications to being able to do what I just did there. There are implications which I have addressed in the past. Let me hold in this sneeze real quick. Anyway. For a while, and this is kind of like a main theme with not just my previous work, but especially this one series that I'm working on in the background. I've shown a little bit of it. I'll show it again just for clarification here, just so that we were all on the same page. It's this series right here, right? This one. All right, you saw it. There you go. There it is. There it is. There it is. Okay. That series of pixel art, that particular series, it focuses exclusively on the idea of escapism. Purely about escapism, right? That's what it is. It's about escapism and the idea of escaping from escapism. Right? Right. And for a while there, I kind of felt like that was one of the big, major concepts that I was really trying to address for the most part. Like, that was it, that was the main thing. And to a degree, I was right, but the more I think about my work, the more I realize that there's a little more to it than just escapism. It's more than just looking at, one of the things that I suppose you could say plagues young men in particular. And I am going to address specifically men. Um, I know women are going through their own struggles, and some of those struggles are very similar to our own. There's a lot of commonality between the two of us, um, between the two sexes. But for the most part, I'm going to address just men, right? That's kind of the main point of contention here for me, because it's the only lived experience that I have that I can, relate to anyone through. I can't relate to anyone through any other identity. It's just being a man in this world is the only one I have that I can actually relate to others through. So that's why I'm going to address them. I feel like, having gone through this experience, it kind of makes me not necessarily an expert, master level expert. I'm not Doctor K, I think he is, healthy gamer, that dude. I'm not the Peterson dude. I'm not any of these guys. I'm some nobody on the internet that thinks he's somebody because he makes art. But I am, in fact, nobody. So, I have that going for me. But I do feel like anecdotal information is important. The sort of anecdotes that I might share. I feel like that information is generally valid. A lot of people seem to think anecdotal evidence is not as strong as empirical evidence, largely due to the nature of humanity. I feel like this is more or less well deserved. There's a level of skepticism that you should always have whenever receiving any kind of information of any kind. But on the same token here, what is going on over here? I'm trying to understand this. Um, I don't really understand it. I'm gonna do the best I can. I'm going to interpret it the best I can. Right, reinterpretations are happening here very suddenly and instantaneously. All right, I think we'll be fine. I think I'll be fine. I'll be okay eventually, for sure. I don't know when, but eventually I'll be okay. Maybe. Anyway, I don't want to go too far over. I'd like there to be like, I'd like that helmet to have some room to breathe over here. It gives it a little more of a dynamic feel, when there's like this little glint of light coming in through over here. It's kind of important and necessary. But anyway, specifically addressing the issues that I'm facing, that I feel a lot of guys are facing. One of them being escapism. But I've noticed escapism is escapism is a major contributing factor, and it's more of a symptom. But I'm not really trying to look at it through terms of like symptomatic this, psychological that. I'm not looking at it as like I'm not trying to look at it as a problem to solve in the traditional sense, so much as I'm trying to focus on it so a little more like wow, I just noticed that the mouse cable for my laptop here is naturally formed a star shape. That's cool. I'll take a picture of that and show you in a minute. That's neat. Sorry, I know I'm getting a little distracted here, but this just looks so cool. Like I didn't arrange it like this; it just arranged itself. The stars are aligning. The stars are being made right. Hold on, I got it. You gotta see this. You gotta see it. You're not gonna believe me or understand me, which most people don't do either anyway. So I gotta constantly provide proofs, which comes back to anecdotal information here, right? The thing about anecdotes, receive a file, is on the one hand, again, always should be a little skeptical. You never want to like just take any and all information at face value. But on the other hand, a part of the reason why some people might not believe you might not necessarily because those people are skeptical in general. They're just skeptical of you, and so you should always go and try and be the most genuine and authentic person you can be, so that way, when you say something, people will be like, he wouldn't lie about that, right? And I don't know if I have that reputation. Maybe I do, maybe I don't. I hope with you guys that my authenticity shows through well enough. Here's the star. Look at that. My cable just naturally does that on its own, or did that on its own, and I never noticed. But that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. That would have been fun to notice while I was still playing Doom. I just finished playing Doom Eternal on my own free time here. But that's something else entirely. Let me lighten this up a little bit because I can. Oh no, never mind. That doesn't do anything. Never mind. Moving on here. Point is, all I have for you is anecdotal, right? But I feel that it is important. I feel that it is necessary for any sort of discourse. And what I'm trying to work on, what I'm trying to address here, again, not trying to like solve a problem necessarily. I'm not a doctor or anything. I'm not trying to cure anyone. I'm just trying to like lay an outline of some kind that needs to be understood for other people to solve problems, especially those who are having those problems. Escapism is one of those problems, right? Escapism not is partly a cause and is also an effect. It's a little bit of both. I don't think anything is like nearly as pure and as simple as most people believe it is. A lot of issues are multifaceted, and within these facets are smaller micro facets. So it's important to kind of recognize that. At this point, I might as well just color it all the same color here, instead of going in like microscopic. But let me come around to my point here, or come back to where I was trying to go when I first started rambling here. I'm trying to like focus on a specific idea here, and again, I think this is a really important idea, a really important concept that I want to share with you people that I've been trying to say through my work, and I don't really feel like I really truly understood it, and maybe I still don't. But I think I'm getting closer. I think I'm getting like way closer than I did at first. You know, I don't know how close, but I'm definitely a lot further down this path than I was when I first just looked at it through the terms of escapism, right? So, addressing this issue here, or these string of issues here, escapism is a trap of some kind. You know, it's like a pitfall. That's how I see escapism. You know, I kind of see us all in a sort of in our own little dungeon world here, exploring it to the best of our abilities. A lot of what I try to express, I express through fantasy and through dungeons because it's part of my culture from being brought up on video games. But it's also, I feel like it's a sort of language that is easier understood by most people like me. You know, it's not like a it's not so esoteric that it is beyond one's grasp. You know, if you like really pay attention to things, you can see patterns. I mean, we are pattern recognizing motherfuckers. You know, we see patterns everywhere. Some of us are a lot better with pattern recognition than others. Um, a large part of that is due to the fact that some of us exercise that skill. It is a skill. It is a skill that you can work on. Um, some of us will have a better time at working on it than others. I'm sure that's kind of just the way things go. All right, where's this opening at? There's an opening somewhere around here that I'm not seeing. And I need to, okay, I see. I see now. I'm picking up the picture. I get the picture. Here it is. Closed. Um, anyway, escapism, pitfall. There are many pitfalls, you know, from pornographic content, opioids, drug addiction in general. Uh, incidentally, interestingly enough, and this is, you know, nothing I'm telling you right now is really news to anybody, but self-improvement content is also very opioid-like, you know, because it gives people the fuel for the fantasy. You know, you can kind of see yourself ascending the mountain, the eternal mountain, without actually putting in any sort of effort to get there, which sucks. You shouldn't do that, but we do it anyway. You know, it's kind of a it's an ironic problem, so to speak. It's an ironic trap. It's a trap that makes itself look like it's there to help you, you know, give you advice, good counsel. I'm trying to get out of here. What do I do? And it's like, here's all this self-improvement advice. Cool, it's going to help me out. No. No, you're just using it to fucking fantasize, escape, and not actually escaping. This is a problem. Don't do that to yourself. You know, we're doing it way too much. You're doing this way too much to yourself. Please, get some help. Allow me to help you figure out that you need to get some help. You know? But we're faced with these overwhelming and tremendous problems, you know, these burdens, these all of this rage and sorrow and apathy, so on, so forth. And I've been thinking about that a lot. I mean, because I'm going through it. I'm going through a lot right now, and I'm really trying to keep it together, to get it together. I want to escape, and not through escapism. I want actual escape. You know, I want I want freedom. That kind of escape. I don't know what's going on over here, but I believe it is profound. So that's where my mind's at for the most part. And then I went over my friend's house, right? He invited me over because he said he was going to the hole. I didn't know what that meant. I know what it means now because I went there with him to the hole, right? Let me go ahead and do something real quick because I feel like I might have fucked up my colors here, but we're good now. The colors are back. The colors are good. We got the colors back. But he invited me to go to the hole with him. Um, Without getting too much into it, we had gone through. We went to the hole, right? We went to the hole. I'm not going to tell you what that hole is, but we went there. And prior to this, we had a little bit of a discussion, and one of the things that I talked about a little bit was this crisis that we're facing right now. And I tried to illustrate like one of the things that is causing people to fall into these pitfalls, right? They see all of this over here. All right, this is everything that is bad. And they see it. And it's this big mess. And they're so focused on that, and on the same token, right? There's all of this which is good, and then there's this middle ground right over here where it kind of bleeds into one another. This is kind of like neutral territory right here. You can't really tell where the boundary for the one is and where it begins, where it ends. And you're down here, right? This is you. This bottom area is you. Let's just paint this white, right? Better yet, let's go ahead and call this section an I. This section is you. And you look at all of that, and all you see is just like this tremendous weight. These huge burdens. It's this impossible object that you cannot move because it's so heavy. It's this impossible distance to travel through. Because in your mind, in order to get over here, you need to go through all of this. And there is so much. There's so much of it. I mean, it's not like this is just like one big old bad and one big old good. These are different levels. This is like the base. And then you get, so much of it is kind of like materialistic. And then you get up here and it's kind of like you get to a point where it becomes spiritual. I'm experiencing some lag here. I don't really have that powerful of software. Now, spirit isn't necessarily where people are trying to go, but it is to say that it's like chakras, right? I'm not a Buddhist by any stretch of imagination. I'm not Hindu either, but I do believe that there is some actual validity to the chakra system, and the lower root chakra. We tend to exist in like the lower three chakras here. Let me pull up chakras here for a second. Chakras. I need a picture. Just give me like the I don't need all of this info, but this will suffice. Maybe. Hold on, this is a really big picture and I'm drawing on a really small scale. Delete. Delete. Color range. Let's just fucking do it like that. Delete. Color range. Delete. Okay. That's not what I wanted to do. That's still not what I wanted to do. What the fuck? Alright, so let's go ahead and keep that visible, but I want to show you this, right? So, everything that is bad, everything that is good. Kind of on a... It lines up right here with the chakras, more or less. You got your base chakra, your root chakra. All of them are important and valuable. However, if you get caught up, say, down in these regions, you're not going to have a very good time. If you're just here, you need to go the way through, all the way through to the top, right? That's why I put spirit up here and base down here, because that's what these chakras more or less represent. And, it's okay if you, I think it's generally okay for most people to, like, at least get here, maybe even here. It's better to be up in these regions for most people. But if you get stuck, like, just here, that's not so bad for you. Getting stuck here, that's also not so bad. Getting stuck here is where the problems begin, and the problems just get worse the lower down here you get stuck, right? And the thing about these chakra levels, the base level to the spirit level, is they are accurately reflected within these levels between everything that is good and everything that is bad for you, right? So you got things that are very base level that are good for you, things that are very base level that are bad for you. You got things that are on a very higher spiritual level that are both good and bad for you. And there's everything in between, like material, social, intellectual, so on, so forth. There's a lot. There's a lot of that. Anyway, a lot of people, a lot of people, a lot of guys like myself, we see all of this bad down here, over here. This is all we're seeing. We're not seeing any of this. We kind of like see it more like this, whereas like this good is all the way hidden back there. There's no way to get to it. We're cut off entirely. And so like where do we go? How do we get here when all of this is in the way, right? Because when we look over there, all we see is like just one big wall, one big obstacle. We don't realize that there's a path through all of this, right? And there is a path, more or less. In order to get up to the top here, you kind of have to do a little bit of climbing, a little bit of navigating here. Let me go ahead and get this as cleared up as possible. But you kind of have to snake your way through, it's not really going to be perfect. Buddhism is all about going straight up this path without going too much in the direction of either, right? I don't think that's necessary. Not unless you're really trying to get to a very high spiritual level, but for most people that's not necessary. That's not necessary at all for the majority of people. So I wouldn't worry about that. Only if you're genuinely interested in the pursuit of spiritual enlightenment in the higher realms of spirit do you go up the middle path, which is, it's how you achieve nirvana. You try and escape suffering through not through pain, not through pleasure, but through, I guess, kind of like in the West it's considered stoicism, more or less. This is a very blunt explanation. But I was talking to my friend about this concept, right? And then we went to the hole and we came back, and I think about that a little more. But one of the other things that I've been thinking about a lot in relation to my work here is the idea of the eternal mountain, right? There is a mountain that I think we are all facing, that we all are trying to climb, and that which is good, all of that which is good that I just showed you, all that which is bad that I just showed you, a very, very crude representation of. It's all on the path up the side of the mountain, up to the peaks of these mountains. Right? This is a huge mountain too, and it's got many peaks. Some of these peaks are actual definitive ends, but I would say a lot of them are, like I said, it's an eternal mountain, so a lot of these kind of keep going on and on forever. Like, you never really get to the ultimate peak, and I do believe that there is one perfectly infinite peak. I feel like some of these other infinite peaks might not be as infinite as they seem, or rather the ones that seem infinite actually kind of converge. They go off to the side and then they converge back into like this middle central one that just goes on forever, because it's constantly rising, and separating itself from the rest of the mountain. So you'll it's almost like it's impossible to get there. I think that's kind of the spiritual enlightenment. That's nirvana right there. That's like the ignorance is bliss. The spirit of ignorance is bliss is all the way up there, because everything else is knowing, and knowing is pain, for the most part. Maybe not explicitly pain, but it's up there for sure. Knowledge leads to paranoia. I would say that's generally true. Not always, but generally it's true. So this is a thing to think about here a little bit. But trying to climb this mountain, and I'm kind of seeing myself at the very bottom, in the underground, trying to go up. You reach out to people to try and help you get up that mountain. Maybe they're a little reluctant because they don't want you to pull them down. And believe me, I know there are people out there that will absolutely pull you down. I deal with those people. I'm currently dealing with those people. They actively try and pull you down. And some of them are trying to pull you down in an absolutely malicious way, for sure. Those people exist. You can never really consider yourself sure that these people will not do that. You definitely have a lot of really malicious people out there that would love to take you down on purpose. Because that's what they do, you know. They're miserable people. They want you to be miserable because they think they're justified in that. You know, it's antisocial behavior disorder type shit, right? They're totally justified in all the wrong they do to you. They have reasons for it. It's not just as simple as bad people do bad people because they can, which is more or less the truth, but it's a lot more to do with the fact that they have actively justified their treatment of you. And some of these people actively justify it in a different way, you know, not necessarily in a malicious way, but in a I'm just trying to I'm just bro, weren't you trying to get a break once? You know, it's that scene from Mad Men where Don Draper is talking to Roger Sterling, you know, as he tries to get in. As a matter of fact, let me see if I can show you this clip. I just want to like pull this clip up because this one little scene is kind of important. Don Draper hires himself. I don't know if I'll be able to find it. That's weird. There was a clip specifically titled this, but I'm not seeing it anywhere. Anyway, the scene is Don Draper is selling fur coats. He gets into Sterling and Cooper, the advertising agency here, and oh wait, here I think this might have it. Yeah, this is the one. Found it.
I have a meeting in the building, and so I was standing here. I thought I'd say hello.
Really? Name one other company in this building.
I'm sorry. It's just I've left some messages for you.
And I've ignored them. That's my message for you.
I just wanted to know what you thought of my portfolio.
I threw it out with the box from the Cubs. That was a bad idea.
Maybe it was a bad idea, but weren't you trying to get a break once?
That scene right there. All right, that very quote right there. Weren't you trying to get a break once? And some people use that in a very, very selfish way to do damage to someone else. In that scene, Don Draper was absolutely doing that very selfishly, very manipulatively, but I don't think he was doing that to ruin, or at least he had absolutely no intention of ruining Roger Sterling there, right? That said, most people who say that, who have that sort of mentality, do not actually intend on bringing you ruin. However, you need to be very careful because some of these people, when they say they don't want to do that to you and they mean it, that doesn't mean they won't, right? So you need to be very careful about who reaches out to you. And I feel like some of my contemporaries, they have this understanding of me that leads them to believe that I'm one of those people, you know, like, I'm trying to catch a break too. Weren't you trying to catch it? It's like, yeah, but like if I help you, you might actually be a very bad bet and it's going to fuck me up in the long run. So maybe it's better that I don't help you at all because I'm trying to protect myself, you know. And they always say it sometimes directly, sometimes indirectly. One artist I tried to work with, he's like, I'm trying to make money here, dude. And so am I. I'm trying to make money too. I don't want him to think that I'm not trying to fucking make money. I'm absolutely about that. I'm 100% on board with making money. It's what I want to do. And I don't want him to like think that maybe I'm just trying to like ride his coattails and like selfishly use him and then discard him entirely. Maybe some people they definitely see that intention and they have a problem with that. And okay, fair enough. I guess, you're not entitled to anyone's resources or to their attention. This is a problem that a lot of people uh that I have a lot of people that I have with a lot of people is when people feel like they're entitled to me, to my attention, to my resources, to just anything about me. When they feel like they have that entitlement or act like they have that entitlement to me, it really fucking irks me. And maybe some of these other folks out here, some of these other artists have perceived me in that way. Um, which, again, fair enough. Uh, very much in the same boat as Don Draper in that scene. I'm just trying to catch a break. You know, some people don't want to give you that chance because they're afraid, rightfully so. You should absolutely be afraid. You should absolutely be skeptical, especially if you're not in a position to take risks, which I am not, and yet I have, and I do, and I regret it every fucking time. Um, I have learned not to help people because of it, which is not something that you should learn. I feel that is generally wrong. It's incredibly selfish view. And, being like on the other end of that, not getting help, I know what that's like and it sucks. Dude, it fucking sucks. So, I get it. I'm not mad about it. I'm really having some severe Photoshop lag here. It's bothering me, but it's okay because I'm kind of meandering on a social level, talking about things that are important to me. Anyway, you got to be aware that there are people that will actively bring you down. Um, Something I thought about recently, kind of related. There is the war on the poor, the war on the lower class. And a lot of people when they talk about the war on the lower class, they usually point to everyone that's up above them. Justified, 100%. There's a lot of people up there that do not have your best interest in heart, that are just trying to take as much out of you as is possible, you know, for their own gain. That's why even though GDP is really high here in America, people's quality of life generally feels like it's going down and down and down. People feel like they're priced out of things. People feel like they cannot make any money. And that is because, despite the fact that the GDP is up, the people who are benefiting the most from it being up, who are actually experiencing it being up, are not people like us. They're not us. It's not us. All right, it's somebody else, and they're usually the people all the way up top with all the money. So that money is flowing, but not for us, not towards us. It's flowing away from us. But one thing most people never really address when it comes to like the war on the poor is how the poor themselves are actively harming themselves as well. And you can say, well, systemic this, problems that, etc. You can point to all the factors that might lead to that. It doesn't change the fact that it's happening. I'm not saying that's the end all be all there and that's it and there's no reason for it. What I'm what I am saying is that people need to understand that even though you are in the lower class, such as myself, that doesn't mean you are pure and holy, number one. And number two, you also need to understand that your own peers, the people who are down here with you, are just as cutthroat as some of the people above you. So you cannot just automatically assume that, we're all in this together and so we're going to work together. That is not the case. That has almost never been the case. Again, a lot of these people, very cutthroat, will definitely try and take advantage of you the second they get the opportunity to do so. You should definitely be wary. A lot of people are wary of me. I get it. I understand it. I'm not justifying it necessarily. I mean, I am, but like, I'm not saying I'm okay with it, is what I'm saying here, Like, I feel like we should definitely be able to actively work with people who understand. We should try and develop a level of understanding with one another that allows each other to kind of get past certain misgivings, past certain scruples that one might have about others. Like, I feel like there should be a process where we can, like, prove ourselves to one another. And we should actively try and go through that process often with one another. Because, like I said, there's people out there who are just as worse off as you are, who are in a very similar situation to yourself, who will take advantage of you in a heartbeat just to get themselves ahead. Psychopathy does not know a specific class as its exclusive point of being. Like, it's not an exclusive, if you make this much money, or if you're like this type of mind because of a certain kind of upbringing, you're definitely going to be a psychopath. No, it comes in all forms, all classes. There's no escaping that fact. That's very, very real. So, and again, people are aware of it. People are wary of it. They might be wary of you. They might be wary of me. I'm wary of others for this fact. So, like I said, I get it. I understand. I don't begrudge anyone for doing that to me, because I do it to other people, and I'm definitely about to do it to more people, more than I have ever done before. Especially now, because I'm currently experiencing the the exact effects of that with someone that I thought was my friend, who is taking advantage of me and is currently running away from responsibility. I'm definitely trying to hold him accountable, but he's running away from it. He's hiding. He's ignoring me, and like, this is why people don't trust one another. Like, that's it right there. That's the kind of shit that people think I'm gonna do to them. Other artists might think that I'll do to them in some capacity or another. Like, I'll wreak havoc, and then I'll run away, and I'll be like, I didn't do anything. I don't know what you're fucking talking about. I'll just leave them hanging, and it will be a colossal waste of time, loss of money, loss of potential money. It's a problem. So, when you're trying to climb this mountain here, you need to be aware that other people who are climbing, who are higher up than you are, will be reluctant to help you. And I think it should be understood that those people who do try to help you, you absolutely should be 100% certain and actively work towards, at whatever cost, towards ensuring that you do not drag that person back down. right? Because it's a lot of fucking work to get up there. You know, some of us cannot afford that loss. I cannot afford that loss. These other artists that I've tried to work with cannot afford this loss. You know, we cannot afford to lose at all. So if you do reach out and someone picks you up or tries to pick you up, you need to put the effort in to climb up. Do not just dead hang off of them and try and like let them do all the work to pull you up. Don't do that because you will drag them down as a result, and then they will either A, let you go, or B, you're going to end up pulling them down, and then you're going to be like, well, this was fucking pointless exercise. And you're right, you're still exactly where you are, where you were, and now you got someone else down there with you. Is like, and they probably hate you now, so you can't even fucking rely on them again. Unless they're fucking stupid. If they're really stupid, then yeah, you'll be able to rely on them again. But if you manage to pass them, there's a good chance that you're not going to, if you're that sort of person to drag them down and continue to rely on them after the fact, you're probably going to ignore their plight after you have essentially fucked them over. Right? That's my current fear. Is this person will fucking ruin me, and then once he gets ahead, he ain't gonna do shit for me, right? Very rarely do these people ever pay you back, because they either feel like they can't, or they feel like, all, well, the whole point of them helping me was to get me to a point where I'm up higher, and now I'm there, so that's the end of that. It sucks, it's bullshit, but don't get too caught up in it. I wonder if I can, like, make a light at the end of this tunnel here. Little bit of torchlight in the background there. Doesn't have to be all dark. Little tiny moments like that are fine. So, you need to climb. You need to get up there. You need to be aware of the fact that there is a path upwards, but you need to actually put in the work. It takes hard work. It takes genuine fucking effort to get going here. And I'm trying to put in that work for myself. I'm really trying to actually get someplace. I'm trying to go someplace. This is something that this guy that I'm talking about very poorly doesn't seem to quite understand. He doesn't have the same sense of urgency because he's in such a fucking crisis that he cannot grasp the urgency of my situation. It's only the urgency of his situation matters to him right now. It's very selfish, and again, I get it. I'm in my own dire straits, but this sort of dishonorable behavior where you are willing to sacrifice the well-being of other people just to get yourself up and going, it's got to stop. It's got to stop. We really need to not necessarily cut these people out, but we need to make sure they understand that if you're going to try and participate with the rest of us, you better start developing, that empathy and that guilt. Guilt is very important. Guilt and shame are very important. Too many people feel shameless. They don't feel guilty enough when they do this to you. because again, they justify it. It's justified. This comes back to people who will actively do you harm on purpose. It's because they've justified it. They have an explanation for why they are doing this to you. It's okay for me to do this to you. Here's why, right? And these people who are doing you harm with the intention of doing themselves good simply because they want the help. And it is from a genuine place of, I need help to get ahead. I'm tired of being down here. If only someone would fucking help me a little bit. They justify it. They will justify bringing you down with them because they are really trying to get up there. They're trying to get up there where they think you are. But I'm not up there, dude. I'm not as high up as you think I am. My footing isn't that great. I'm not that strong. I don't think I could. In fact, I know I would not be able to lift a full-grown man up over a cliffside. If you're hanging on to you're either gonna fall or you're gonna pull me down with you. There's no getting around that fact. That's the kind of situation I'm in right now. And for whatever reason, I thought, well, this guy definitely will pull himself up, so it should be fine. I'm basically putting himself in a position where he will be able to easily put himself up. That's more or less what my thought process was, and it was wrong. It was erroneous. I fucked up. It's my own dumbass fault. I need to figure something out here because obviously I'm not helping him out. He's definitely not helping me out. He's never going to help me out. He's not taking responsibility for himself. He's running away from me when I hold him accountable for whatever he does. So I need to take action of some kind. I need to figure out what the hell I need to do here. I don't really know what that is just yet, but believe me, when I know, once I figure out what exactly I need to do to get myself out from this dude's clutches here, believe me, I will kick him to the fucking wayside. Because I'm tired of being disrespected like this, and that's what it comes down to for me. Is it's genuinely fucking disrespectful, and it's incredibly shameful to do this to someone and to not say I need to stop doing this to this person. To like just give in to this base level pure survival instinct by whatever cost necessary. And stop doing this to this person that I believed or behaved or acted like was my friend. Right? That said, it is important that you adopt that sort of mentality. But that mentality should be constructive. Right? That mentality of by any means necessary should absolutely 100% be constructive. You can't just use it in a psychopathic way, unless of course you're using it against like the system. If you're using it against the system, that's fine. That's fine, because the system obviously can take it because the system generally is taking it from you anyway. So you're just taking back, right? Is that wrong for me to say after having talked about psychopaths who justify it? Maybe a little bit. However, I feel like it's generally, and again, this is a little hypocritical of me, I know that, but it's generally okay to kind of give these sorts of psychopaths a taste of their own medicine, so to speak. It is important for them to understand that this is what you're doing to me, so let me make sure you understand what it is and see how you like it, right? Do unto others as you would have others do unto you, sort of thing. Still not entirely justified, not completely justifiable. It is, again, a little dishonorable. But when it comes to, like predatory loans and uh, the government, it's pretty okay to take from them as much as you possibly can, especially if they're doing nothing but taking from you. This is more like a Robin Hood sort of approach. Robin Hood type of approach. That's what we're talking about here. We're talking about becoming Robin Hood. There's a face here. Does he have a knife? I think he has a knife. It looks like he's got a knife right here. Oh, maybe it's going the other way. I can't tell. It kind of looks like this is the blade right here. But at the same time, it looks like maybe the blade's going the other way, and I genuinely cannot make heads or tails of which way that blade's going. I'm going to say he's holding it ice pick style. I'm going to say he's holding it reverse grip. Then again, oh no. I don't know, dude. I mean, ice pick style is just as fine as any. It's just as fine any which way I direct it, right? It'll be fine. It'll be okay. I'll be okay. I'll be okay eventually. This dude might not care if I'm okay eventually. He might not be invested in me being okay eventually, but I am. I want to be okay eventually. I want to get there. We're gonna get there. Probably gonna wanna land. Anyway, it's good to finally have like some dimension to this mess of dungeon, because this is kind of like the big thing. With painting, it's easier to like flesh it out as I go, but with pixel art, I tend to like, I have to go by layers instead of like parts. I think that's the key distinction. And when I got into doing pixel art again, I kind of thought I was going to do it the same way I paint, and for the most part, I do. Not entirely, but I kind of do a little bit, right? Like that aspect is definitely there, but not the same way as I'm painting. So I really need to, when I finish this piece and I finish my other ones, I definitely need to like start trying to reevaluate what I'm fucking doing here. Motherfucker. Cocksucker. Hell's bells and buckets of blood. I hope you rot in hell. Rot in hell. May you rot in hell. Rot in hell. Sorry, a little bit of necromantics. That's a song that I keep thinking about all the time. I think about that all the time. I think about that song a lot. I need to listen to it again. I didn't listen to it on Halloween like the rest of their music, which is exactly when you're supposed to listen to their music anyway. It's very, very much Halloween. It's psychobilly. It's spooky, punky, rockabilly music with the double bass and everything. It's pretty great. I was a big fan of the double bass for a while there. I still am. You know, the sound of the double bass never ceased to be good. It never stopped. It still sounds good to this day. Love me some double bass. You know. You know? You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Anyway, so no longer focusing explicitly on escapism and instead kind of focusing on ascension from the depths, on the depths themselves, especially focusing on the depths themselves. You know, I do want to eventually get to a point where I'm also showing like the heights because I concern myself a lot with pursuit and passion. These things are heavily related to ascending the mountain, the eternal mountain, climbing the eternal mountain, as I call it, getting out of the dungeon, getting to a better place, mentally, financially, etc., etc., etc. But I feel like a lot of this escapism kind of, again, it kind of draws your attention away from the fact that you are here for now. Until then, you are here, as Katsumoto said in The Last Samurai. In the spring, the snows will melt and the passes will open. When that time comes, you are free to go. Until then, you are here. Very relatable. You know, that's a kind of quote that you can take both literally and figuratively. Until the time comes when it all clears up, you are stuck here. And maybe it's not the snow, maybe snow is an allegory for like your state of mind. Maybe you need to clear up a plan first. You know? These things, there's things that need to clear up for you to be able to get through those passes. That's why I like movies like that, where they say things where it's like, damn, that's very quotable. You know, there's a lot of great movies that aren't very quotable, and there are great movies that have single moments that are quotable. Last Samurai is very quotable. What happened to the guys at Thermopylae? Dead to the last man. That's such a good scene right there. That movie is also kind of guilty of being a little bit of an escapist fantasy, but at the same time, it does a little bit of what I'm trying to do with my art, so maybe not so bad, not so guilty after all. I don't know. I don't fucking know. I don't know, dude. Let me zoom out and take a look at this fit screen. Let's take a look. I see. Fascinating. You know, this lag is starting to get on my nerves a little bit. I'm starting to like lose focus on my train of thought here trying to talk about my art. But I am, and because of that, because I'm losing that train of thought here, uh, trying to explain my creative vision, talking about the burdens and the frustrations, talking about ascending that mountain, seeing all that is bad and being weighed down by it, escaping to base level pleasures and never really learning anything from them, to see that through both those base level pleasures and that which is good, there is a path to a higher place, a better place. There is a place
Release me at once. Yes, yes. There is a me to be released and a place to be released from. There is a better place somewhere else and a better time to be. Keep struggling.
you know, it is important to learn to navigate appropriately through the good, through the bad, through the wicked, through the blessed, through the excitement and the dullness, all of it. It is important to climb that mountain in pursuit of a higher place. The eternal mountain. The pursuit of art is definitely one such path, one such driving force to climb said mountain. It is not the only path, it is not the only way, but it is a way. It is not the way, but it is the way I am taking. The way that I am using to get me there, to the place where I belong. Or at least that I think I belong. Maybe I don't belong there. Who knows? I mean, that's such an entitled thing to say. I belong there. Do I really belong there? Do I really? I feel like I do. But is it true? Is that actually true? Does anyone actually think I belong there? Is my belief that I belong there good enough? It might not be, you know. Then again, if I don't justify it, then who will? That's always the problem. Justifications are always rife with problems. Look how long it takes to draw one line. Look at that. Like, I start drawing the line, and the line don't start getting drawn until it is already well past its bedtime. That is some bullshit. Ain't that some shit? I just hope that no one, like, hears these things that I'm saying and looks at my work and they understand it, but they fall into that same pitfall as self-improvement. You know, because people, they listen to that self-improvement content a lot, and then they don't do anything. Like I said, they use it to fuel the fantasy. Gives them the vision of being higher on the mountain without them actually acting upon it, you know, because it puts the idea in the head and they see it. They see it, but only, oh, excuse me, only in the mind's eye do they see it. And things that you see in the mind's eye are important to pay attention to, but to manifest, you need to act. It's called manifest destiny, motherfucker. America. Fuck yeah. To manifest one's destiny, one must put in the work to manifest it. It will not manifest itself on its own. This is a simple fact. This is reality. Digested. What happened to your skeleton, Jelly Skeleton? Digested. Anyone ever see that? That little comic? I love that comic so much. It's a little obscure thing, but it's this little dude, Skeleton Jelly. Let me see if I can find out. Let me show you Skeleton Jelly. Skeleton Jelly. Let's see if I can find it. I give you the full Skeleton Jelly. Let me get this. Let me get this. Copy image. Does it have the artist name on here? I don't see the artist's name on here. Maybe that's not what's important. I am Skeleton Jelly. I am Skeleton Jelly. I am Skeleton Jelly. I am Skeleton Jelly. My brain is made of tiny animals. I am Skeleton Jelly. I am Skeleton Jelly. No, I am Skeleton Jelly. I am Skeleton Jelly. Really? Somebody was just here looking for you. Skeleton Jelly? It said if it finds you, it will tear you into pieces and eat them. I am getting eaten? I am skeleton eating? No, I am Skeleton Jelly. I am Skeleton Jelly. I am Skeleton Jelly. I am Skeleton Jelly. Well met. Have a drink. I am drinking jelly? Am I drunk on jelly? No, I am Skeleton Jelly. You are Skeleton Jelly? I've been looking for you. I am Squirsicle Jelly. I am Squirsicle Jelly. I am Squirsicle Jelly. Where's your skeleton? Digested. Do you know where you are? City or city? Far from it. If you are not careful, you will drip into the ruined ultraviolet city. I am careful, Jelly. I am dripping, Jelly. I am dripping to the ruined ultraviolet city. There he goes. I love that comic. I think about it often. I love it. I love it. Who did this? Who did this? Who made this? I want to see. Like, does anyone have the name for this guy in here? I want to know. I want to know. By Matt Brinkman. Let's look up Matt Brinkman real quick. Matt Brinkman. I just want to have confirmation here. Images. Art. Yep, that's... Oh yeah, that's definitely his art. That's definitely his art. Look at this. Look at this. Let's take a look at this. Let me show you something. Let me show you something. Let me show you a little bit about this dude who makes skeleton jelly, who made skeleton jelly. Window capture, add source. Add a new source instead. Add source. Window. This one. Done. Take a look. Let's take a look. Matt Brinkman. Look at that. Neat. Crazy. It's out there. It's strange. It's crazy. City del city. I am skeleton jelly. I am skeleton jelly. Yeah, that's Matt Brinkman. Matt Brinkman for sure. Yep. We have the name. We have a name. Guys, we have a name. I don't think I'll ever be as iconic or as influential as Matt Brinkman. No one's ever gonna write Under Dark Weird Fantasy Grounds, an international horror anthology. Is this an article? BrokenFrontier.com. Takes readers to the heart of darkness. It comes from Italy, but the new biannual Under the Dark. Yeah, I don't think I'm ever gonna get a feature like this. It's never gonna be me. It ain't me. It ain't me. I ain't no fortunate one, no. Anyway, delete this. Delete. Delete the jelly. I am delete jelly? I am skeleton delete? No. I am MF Psychasso. MF Psychasso. Certified MF Psychasso moment. Certified. Mad, frustrated. Psychasso. Hey, Picasso! Hey, what's up, cuzzo? Good to see you, cuzzo. Didn't I? Okay, I was about to say, didn't I grab this color? No, it's just taking even longer to color. Yeah, I need to wrap this up because this is taking too long for it to register my brush strokes here. My digital marking strokes. I am having a stroke. I am a stroke. I'm having a stroke of genius. I am a mad genius. My mother's just alive. She asked me, "Do you want the citrus fruit?" And I said, "No, it makes my hair grow funny." She said, "Are you a serial killer?" I said, "No, I ain't no serial killer. Yeah, I killed a bunch of people, but there were a bunch of one-offs. Weren't no series." Classic. It's good shit. I remember that. I think about that often. I think about a lot of these dumbass things often. I don't know if that constitutes actual genuine brain rot or if it's genuinely just funny content. Funny comedy. I'm gonna say it's genuinely funny comedy. Oh, please, please, I want to zoom out. Thank you. Oh, fuck, it just fits screen. Where are we? What is going on here? Does anyone know? I don't know anymore. I don't know what I'm doing anymore. Other than falling apart and dealing with people that want to take advantage of me and trying my best to climb this mountain. I don't feel like I got a whole lot done, and yet I definitely did, except it's not nearly to the level that it should be at, so I'm sure it was boring. I'm boring. Maybe I'm very boring. Maybe nothing I said makes any sense. No one understands me, is what it is, whatever. Maybe I'm just crazy and I'm rambling and I'm just, oh no, there's that fucking crazy dude in the basement. He's antisocial, don't talk to no one, doesn't get out very much. And now he's talking about how life is kind of reflected in fantasy dungeon art, and that his dungeon art is symbolic in terms of like the human condition and the struggles that men are going through, that men are currently going through, that he himself is going through as a man facing off in society that seems to be unfairly stacked against him. Oh no, everyone, it's rigged against him. The weights are being bared down on him, and his fucking well-being is being stolen from him by people from all sorts and sorts of directions. And that's what he's saying his art's all about. But I don't know, dude. I just see really cool fantasy art that looks like it's inspired by video games. Isn't that cool? Haha, I kind of wish I could collect it as a Funko Pop, except not at all, because he is not established. If this was Legend of Zelda stuff, I'd be all over it. I'd be all over it. But he's not establishment, so I don't care. That's the problem with being an artist, a fantasy artist, the kind of art that I make. I feel like most people would only fuck with it if it was fan art. But I'm not a fan artist. Maybe I'm just projecting. I'm definitely projecting. I'm projecting for sure. I'm just obscure, that's all. I'm obscure and I don't know how to get out, and I need to get out. 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 From the depths. I'm gonna get there. The place where I belong.